over the past decade, we have seen a significant decline in the quality of content that we are receiving, and that's why so many people have looked away from the Western world of entertainment, and we've been supporting Chinese, South Korean, and even Japanese video game developers and storytellers, and unfortunately, Japan is being very heavily targeted right now because Japan's NikoNiko is seeing paid subscriptions tank following credit card restrictions and the adult content crackdowns. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when it comes to Visa and Mastercard debanking certain companies and ultimately ripping their services away from certain platforms that actually really started in Japan, I've talked about it so many times on this channel, and I will continue to do so, but Manga Library Z was a very major situation that really had started stemming a couple of years ago and got bad in 2024 because in August of 2024, Otaku USA had reported how some Western credit card companies had threatened penalties or told Japanese companies they need to stop selling some of their explicit manga titles. The manga creator and politician Ken Akamatsu spoke out against this, and now he's been pulled even more into the controversy. That's because his digital service Manga Library Z is being shuttered due to issues with credit card companies. In other words, it's exactly what he warned could happen. So it was the worst case scenario. This had only happened last year, and it just goes to show that really Japan is typically the first entity that is targeted when it comes to worldwide content crackdowns. I know right now we're talking a lot about the UK and Australia because of Collective Shout, and the United States is going through some issues as well, but Japan is really where it all had started. Manga Library Z had offered out-of-print manga that people could read digitally. Akamatsu said he created the company that eventually turned into Manga Library Z as a way to fight piracy. It was a really great way for content to be kept safely online so that things did not just kind of vanish into the void, right? When digital copies of things get taken offline, it can be extremely hard to find them. It was a way to preserve certain manga and Japanese entertainment in general, but now Japan's NikoNiko is seeing paid subscriptions tank following a credit card restriction, so they are going through something very similar. Kadokawa's financial results for the first quarter of the fiscal year ending March 2026 reveal that overall revenue from its major video streaming platform NikoNiko has been on a decline, source Otaku Soken. The company attributes this primarily to a recent decrease in premium paid subscriptions caused by credit card payments being suspended on the platform for months. And I think that it's so interesting because, of course, Visa and Mastercard have all basically said that we're not the ones who are technically monitoring this content. We're not the ones that are forcing these platforms to remove the content. They could just find other payment processors, but really we know that they have a monopoly. I personally believe that credit card companies should be regulated just like a utility. I think that that would be the best way for these companies to be handled. And although the most recent quarter saw subscriptions rebound slightly, with premium members growing by 5,000 to 994,000, this is still a far cry from past figures, excluding the impact of the June 2024 Kadokawa cyber attack, which resulted in extraordinary losses for NikoNiko in the previous fiscal year. The company admits that membership numbers have remained below the 1 million mark for the second consecutive quarter, leading to an overall decline in revenue. Now, of course, I want everybody to be able to consume the content that they want. If it is fully legal content online, it should be allowed to be sold. And I know that there are some places where obviously they have different laws regarding content, but all of this content is legal even in Japan. Therefore, it shouldn't be a problem for people to consume it. But most importantly, we should not see credit card companies and banks and payment processors influencers in general restricting access and restricting the ability for people to be able to pay for this content. While the number has been slowly dwindling these past few years, 2016 to 2017 saw premium members peaking at 2.5 million. Katakawa attributes the more recent decline to the temporary suspension of international credit cards on NikoNiko. From May 2024 to February 2025, no credit cards except for JBC were available as payment options on the site, which Katakawa thinks has driven some members away, which I definitely agree. When there is a limited way for people to be able to pay for content, it's going to severely slash the number of people who are actually going to either go out of their way to use the currency you'd like them to, and it's going to drive, people away, unfortunately. And while having a limited amount of payment options available on your platform is a reason why people would not subscribe or cancel their subscriptions, another problem is the fact that they effectively banned all adult content to get their Visa brand credit card payment option reinstated, which I'm sure a lot of people felt kind of betrayed by. They had mass deleted videos and even shut down adult-oriented fan art portals to comply with international laws, which at this point, I think that we all have, come to the realization that we can't necessarily blame these platforms for wanting to keep as many deals in place as possible and keep as many payment options in place as possible. And they do feel backed into a corner that they have to remove this content. It's why Valve did, it's why itch.io did, it's why NikoNiko did. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who believe that these companies should hold their ground and say, we will not do this. So they had announced that the adult-oriented section of the Japanese manga and fan art platform NikoNiko Sega will have its service suspended on January 29th, which did happen. At the same time, tens of thousands of videos have been removed from Japan's YouTube over the past few days. These actions are an outcome of the service's regulations being revised last October in, at this point, 2024 to accommodate international laws regarding sexual and violent content. And this is very worrying, not just for NSFW enjoyers, but for people across the internet, across the world. We could see all sorts of content heavily censored now, and it's why I've been speaking out about the situation as much as possible, because over the past decade, a lot of people have looked to Japanese, Chinese, and South Korean media in order to get good, high-quality experiences that most of the time are not ideologically driven. Of course, there are still some Japanese companies, for example, that do push a modern day agenda in the work that they're creating. They want to appeal to a global audience, and so they believe that they have to censor themselves. They believe they have to tone down their work, and they're not really willing to push the creative boundaries as much as they once were anymore. But there are still a lot of amazing creatives out there who are creating awesome, unique experiences, and the Western world of entertainment has become quite stale. Never mind how it is all going to be extremely sanitized now, because there are going to be developers who are going to be afraid to create risky experiences anymore. And it seems that Japan is definitely one of the places that is getting hit the hardest by the adult content crackdown. And of course, I will be keeping my eye on this. I will be covering this as much as possible in the future. But now we know that yes, they are seeing paid subscriptions being slashed following credit card restrictions and adult content crackdowns. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this a like. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.